What is going on, hobby family? It is your boy K-Dub. This is K-Dub's High Five, 5 rapid fire questions with your favorite hobby faces. And today we bring in one of my YouTube hobby favorites. He is Matt Coleman. He is the producer of the hit YouTube sports card series, Chasing Cardboard TV on social medias, as well as Matt Chasing Cardboard producer on Instagram. How are you doing today, man?
I'm good. You?
I'm good. I'm good, man. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. I know I've talked with Ty on a high five, but I'm excited to get your kind of take on how you came
Yeah.
up with this chasing cardboard thing. Which subscribe chasing cardboard on YouTube. It's fantastic. I love your episodes. My son is a big fan as well, so I'm excited to hear about it.
Yeah, that's good to hear. It's always nice hearing the younger crowd is joining in.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And the thing I appreciate about it, it's very family friendly, man. I feel like you keep it appropriate for the kids and as well as engaging for the adults as well. So I'm looking forward to hearing about it. So how it works, I got 5 questions, all hobby related. I'm gonna throw them at you one right after another. Ready to take on the high five?
Bring it on.
All right, man. Chasing cardboard. Subscribe to it on YouTube. How did you come up with this idea, man? I'm curious, like what kind of prompted you to think to do this reality sports card show? How'd you come up with it?
Uh, I was I was a content creator on Bench Clear Media
Okay.
with I and Mike and even Jeff Hofer. And I was out to lunch one day with Jeff Hofer,
Okay.
and I told him I just love his personality. He's so outgoing and he's really good on camera, and he does a lot of acting here in Dallas and stuff.
Yeah.
So I told him, I was like, man, I would love to do a show. And I told him this idea, and he was like, man, that's a great idea. That would be so much fun. But I knew he was so busy with just he worked at an agency at the time. Then, as we know, he went to Panini. Now he's at Fanatics.
Yeah.
Um, so eventually, time went by, and so I reached out to Ty. I was like, dude, I've got this idea, because I knew Ty was really good on camera too, and
Yeah.
just a great personality. And so, of course, Ty was like, let's do it. And I was like, really? So yeah, so that's the story. I mean, I'm a huge fan of American Pickers,
Okay.
and when it comes to traveling, I love traveling. I
Okay.
just love going and just exploring, see new places, and the whole thing of chasing cardboard. I just love putting in the drone shots and the whole Americana vibe. I want it to feel like you're just seeing parts of America and experiencing different things. Yeah.
Yeah. I always describe it as Pickers meets Pawn Stars meets sports cards. I mean, it really is kind of the best of reality, in my opinion. Reality TV meets the hobby. So it's really cool to hear how you came up with that. That's fantastic. And shout out to
Yeah.
Ty. He's also been on the high five as well. Great on camera, and he was great on the high five. So,
Yeah.
well, let's get to kind of the sports card piece of the show. Like when you think about your collecting journey, like sports cards for you, who would you credit as some of those influences for you?
Oh man, the early days, I used to go to these card shows with a friend down in Houston. Um, and I can't remember what those shows were, the triple try whatever something or another. And his name was Mike Schmidt,
Oh,
but not
okay.
not, not the Mike Schmidt. Funny enough, my favorite player back then was Mike Schmidt.
That's too funny.
But yeah, his dad used to take us all the card shows and show us stuff. So
Mm.
that was like the early days. And then me and my cousin, we would just collect, and we would, if you knew like the route we used to ride our bikes to our local card shop. I mean, today in today's world, you'd be like, that's so dangerous. You can't do that. I mean, we were nuts, but we would do it every weekend. And look at the mid 80s star cards. Our card shop guy was always trying to push those on us. We're like, no, and Jordan. And I remember
Oh,
seeing a Larry Bird, Michael or a Magic Johnson rookie there, and just thinking, man, I wish I could get that.
yeah.
Yeah, good old days.
Now, when you like think about moving forward into kind of the sports card kind of content creation, like who would you kind of look to as some of those people who kind of inspired that?
During COVID is when I got back into cards, because I dabbled in it like 2010, 11, 12 a little bit.
Okay.
And at the time I was, I'd buy like a case of something, and I was pulling like Jordan autos and LeBron autos, just crazy, really cool stuff, right? And then eventually it's like, this is getting a little too crazy. I can't afford this.
Mm.
the money I'm making, I'm blowing back into it. So I got out, and then when COVID hit, the whole boom happened, and I was like, wait, I've still got some unopened boxes in the closet. I think I had a 11, 12 SP Authentic,
Oh, wow.
box in the closet, and
Yeah.
so I had some crazy stuff left in the closet. So I started opening stuff, getting back into it. And at the time, I jumped on YouTube thinking there's got to be some guys that can help me understand this better. And
Yeah.
I ironically, I came across Mike Moynihan's,
Yeah.
because I mean, you search baseball collector and boom, he's right there.
Yeah.
And then I love doing yard work. So whenever I was doing yard work, I was always listening to podcasts,
Yeah.
because in the video production world, I was always listening to film podcast and entertainment stuff.
Yeah.
But I started kind of scratching the surface of the card world, and I ran across tie and breaker culture.
Hmm.
And so whenever I was asked to be a part of Bench Clear, I had no idea that was the same guy. So it was kind of a really cool serendipitous, I think a God thing, kind of planning and
For sure.
orchestrating, putting stuff together.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would say Mike and Ty, and it's funny that I'm with them now, and I think early on Jeff Wilson, I listened to a lot of his stuff. I was learning and figuring things out,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. And Mike and Ty, in case you're wondering, both have been guests on the High Five. Awesome dudes. Also, Bench Clear Media is fantastic on YouTube.
Mhm.
One of my favorite channels to go to for sports card content as well. So, all right. Well, let's talk about being on the chasing cardboard journey. Like when you think about collections you guys have come across, or maybe cards that you've come across that just blew you away. Is there like one that comes to mind where you think, I can't believe that just happened? Like I can't believe we just showed up at this place and they had this, and what was it?
It'd have to be the West Virginia collection.
Okay.
A gentleman named Harlan, his father-in-law passed away, and he was a huge collector in the 70s, 80s, 90s. But his name was John, and he quit collecting in the 90s.
Okay.
So whenever we look at his collection, I mean, it literally looked like, something was moving, and then all of a sudden it just stopped, because of just where things stopped and what he had, like the Desert Shield and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as we kept unraveling stuff, and then Harlan would be like, "Oh, we've got this, we've got this," we're like, "Oh my gosh!" I never held a 52 mantle tops before,
Yeah.
and that was the first time to really see one and hold it, and it's just like, this is surreal,
Hmm.
and that's what the show's all about. I mean, because we know that there's uncovered, like, stuff in closets, attics, basements, whatever, and
Hmm.
sometimes they just don't know. And for us, it's been really surprising that as popular and huge as cards were during the COVID spell, that, you know, people still just really didn't catch on, or they didn't connect the dots of like, oh, I got all that stuff in my closet,
Hmm.
you know?
No, absolutely. And I think the thing that I always love is the random places that you guys find these amazing collections. You know,
Oh,
you can be in like random Idaho down to Arkansas over to West Virginia, like you said. It's just these unknown places, and these guys just have these incredible collections. I mean, I'm a big 90s fan, and I mean, the 90s cards that just come out of these collections just blow me away. And they're just sitting in boxes with no idea.
right. Yeah.
Now, how do people go about like getting you that? How do you figure out this place is the place to go or that place is the place to go? Like, what draws you to the different places that you shoot?
We knock on doors. We go
Okay.
door. No, just kidding.
Hey, do you have
No,
a
yeah, we've got missionaries all over the world that are knocking on, called chasing cardboard missionaries.
Oh,
Uh, no, we early on we kind of reached into Facebook Marketplace
okay.
and Craigslist, your typical places. And yeah, we just and when Ty also early on, he put in some ads in some of the local papers up in Montana and Idaho. I
Okay.
did some around here in Texas.
Yeah.
And so that's how stuff would pop up. And
Mm,
so the biggest thing was just talking about it and letting people know what we were doing and what we're looking for. And that's how, it kind of, oh, I've got a friend of a friend, and it
yeah.
kind of like that. So, but now they're just kind of people reach out to us,
Gotcha. So that
it's a lot easier.
created
Yeah.
that traction, and now people are, yeah, no, that makes total sense. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about you a little bit as a collector. Let's say I gave you all the money in the world and you could rip one hobby box from any sport, any time period. What box are you going to take and why?
Without a doubt, it would be the 1980 Tops basketball.
Okay.
those boxes. And here's the funny thing. Um, when I first met Jeff Hofer, we were kind of talking a lot and stuff, and there was a box for $4,000. I said, Jeff, do you want to go in and split this? And he said no at the time, but I wish we had, because I think now the box is crazy,
For
crazy
sure.
expensive. But it would be that box without a doubt. During COVID, I would buy a lot of packs for like $100 here and there, and just opening those packs was just so cool. I'm a
Is there-
huge Larry Bird fan.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, is there something about, but that makes sense. I mean, that was the prime time years for Bird. So
Yeah.
fantastic. And what drew you to Larry Bird? Is there any reason why?
Uh, I think I just liked his play, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, I in high school I had probably high school, middle school, I had this wall in my room that just had all the Sports Illustrated, cutouts and stuff,
Yeah.
and whatever I could get, just because I thought he was a baller, man. He played different and he controlled the game, you know.
And
Yeah.
he didn't think wrong. I mean, when I think about guys who, and the thing I love about Larry Bird is he played the game so well. He was so far above everyone else out on the court.
Mhm.
So it wasn't just about his skill, but his IQ was just off the charts. And so listening to his stories, I mean, I love listening. That's one of my favorite things to listen to on YouTube is Larry Bird stories and just people
Oh,
talking about the way he played, his trash talking, but also his IQ. It's just
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah. He knew what guys were gonna do before they did it. I,
Absolutely.
yeah, he was probably the first guy that what I call like they see the matrix.
Hmm.
See
Very
all the
good.
X's and
Yes.
zeros and ones, and I think he was one of those guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
all right, man. Well, final question here for you. What's next for Chasing Cardboard? I mean, you guys launched a year and a half ago. Like, where do you see it going? What do you see, what's coming down the pike? Like, what do you got planned for Chasing Cardboard?
Well, it's been a year and a month, and
Okay.
we keep
Okay.
track of that because we're just like blown, how in the world did we get to this place? And it's so cool, and surreal. We've got a great fan base and everything, and so we've got some pretty cool things planned. This week was a pretty busy week for us, making a lot of phone calls and talking to people.
Yeah.
Um, and I would say maybe the end of this month, there should be something pretty cool coming out.
Okay.
And then the national, we're kind of playing with an idea of something that could be really cool.
Yeah.
Um, but and then there is one like really really massive collection that we may go check out. And I mean it's probably we keep when we saw like the West Virginia collection, we thought there's no way we're going to top this. And then we saw like the Ricky's collection, and we
Yeah.
got, and so just certain things, but this one collection is just going to be pretty crazy.
Okay.
um so we're fingers crossed. Not every collection that drops into our laps do we jump on, because it has to be right for us, has to be right for them, because we're not all about just cards and cards and cards. We want to tell a story.
Mm. And
So,
I love that about the show. I mean, if you guys are watching this video and you haven't checked out Chasing Cardboard, that's the piece that I love is not only do we get to see awesome cards and crazy places where you find these cards, but you get to hear a person's story. You get to hear where they come from, why they collect, why that card matters. And it's a pretty special thing. And I think it really reflects, your personality, Mike's personality, and Ty's personality, kind of what you guys are about in the hobby. So I love it, man. Keep it up.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there really are some really genuine people out there that are trying to sell their collections for a good reason.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, we've got to fund our show, and Ty and I both have eBay stores, and we're trying to, put food on the table for
Yeah.
our families and stuff. But there really are some really cool stories. And there's one potential episode coming up with a celebrity type person, which is going to be pretty fun.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to know this person's story because they're a celebrity, but looking forward to that one.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's just, you know, honestly, something you could call me tomorrow and I could say, "Oh my gosh, last night this happened." So yeah, we
Yeah.
could talk in a week and I could tell you about something bigger that came across, and we're not doing it, or we are doing it and can't wait for everyone to see it. But
For sure.
right now we're kind of in a little period of waiting to see how some of these other little stories and stuff we have, because a lot of our episodes are um, kind of in a limbo spell. Ty's moving back to Kansas City, and we're hitting summer.
Yeah.
Things are crazy. My kids are about to take them to camp, and I'm gonna finally take a week vacation with the wife, and then the kids are gonna join us. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
but we got some big stuff coming.
Well, I'm excited. I'm on the edge of my seat for whatever it is. I mean, it seems like you guys got ideas galore. So I'm excited to see what comes about. What comes to fruition in that. So, all
Yeah.
right, man. One bonus question: do you have a favorite outtake that we haven't seen on the show, where just you think about it and it just makes you laugh or makes you smile, or maybe makes you cry? I don't know, but is there like a favorite like blooper moment that you're like, oh man, we need a blooper reel for that moment from the show?
Gosh, I'm sure there's tons of them. There is so much stuff that I don't put in the episodes just
No,
because we don't have time
yeah.
and we don't want to bore people. But there are a lot of funny moments between Mike and Ty.
Oh, I can imagine.
I mean, if you ever watch On the Fly with Mike and Ty, they would kind of zing each other a little
Yeah,
bit,
yeah,
but they don't agree on everything, and then they tolerate each other in a lot of places and stuff. So there's some really funny just humor of the back and forth that the banter that they kind of do that I have to cut out sometimes because it's like inside jokes, or
yeah,
people might think they're wrong, because at the end of the day it's like, man, I've got to keep the personalities, and
for sure.
where people are like, oh, these two guys are fun, but if they're like constantly picking on each other and having fun and laughing. But yeah,
One
I
of my
can't think of one. Oh, you know what, it's in an episode. I mean, I walked outside one time, and I think it was in the West Virginia episode. I walked outside one time, and Harlan is like wrapping them in the what do you call it? The plastic stuff that you wrap,
Oh
saran
yeah,
wrap.
yeah, yeah, like bubble wrap or shipping wrap paper or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, the shipping wrap, because we had to wrap this pallet to ship to Idaho. And so I walk outside, I'm just like, what is going on? So I pulled the camera over on it, took some picture stuff, but I didn't get the beginning of it. But it's just so, it's just kind of like you don't know what's going to happen
For
sometimes.
sure. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. One of my favorite moments that comes to mind with Mike is when they were looking at these vintage cards, and unfortunately, a lot of them turned out to be fake. But he started smelling the cards.
Oh
Just,
yeah.
I laughed out loud as I was on my lunch break. It cracked me up. You got to smell them, Ty. You got to smell them. Like, oh my gosh, it's like smelling a new shoe or something. Too funny. So,
Yeah. Off camera, we call it, does it smell like grandma's house? That's what we say off camera.
there it is. There it is. So, oh, well,
Yeah.
shoot, man, that's the end. We got a high five. Throw it up. High five at the end of high five.
Yeah,
Check
man.
out Chasing Cardboard, guys. I can't plug it enough. It is a fantastic show. Chasing Cardboard TV on social medias, and then Chasing Cardboard on YouTube, as well as check out Matt Chasing Cardboard, producer. Also, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, Dizzy Dub One, and follow me on Twitter if you're bored, at Mr. K-Dub. Shout out to our high five endorsers this year, Buck City Breaks, Rack of the Day, Eric Hecker on Twitter. My friends, always be the good. Check out my man's work on YouTube, Chasing Cardboard. Yeah, we're going whatever we're going here. So, but really, I appreciate you joining me, man. It means a lot, and I wish you the best of luck with the future, man. I'm excited to see what happens next.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for being a fan.
Oh, for sure, man. And my boy's gonna love this because, like I said, my boy watches the show as well, so he's gonna be excited to hear who I had on the high five this week.
Very cool.
So, all right, guys, take care. See you guys next time on the next high five.